All right, picture this, phones are ringing, people are running around, and someone's grandmother is texting every single person in her contact list and begging them to vote. And somebody just like barges in and declares, you know what, I told my Uber driver to vote and convinced them to vote for our party. Cheers all around. All right, this insanity that you just heard is pretty much the magic of the last minute outreach. It's chaotic, it's creative, and sometimes it's literally what democracy needs. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Welcome to a call-up conversation on the intersection of technology and causes. We ask experts, stakeholders, managers, and engineers for answers to the biggest questions facing those who want to make the world a better place. Now, whether you are one of those campaign managers or just like a voter who is looking to wonder about the future of elections, this is the conversation for you. I am Vinayak.
And hi, I am Shiksha, and we shall be your host for today's discussion.
Yes. So you have less time than a pizza delivery has to deliver some pizzas, to go do some outreach, win elections, win massive votes. What is the first thing that you do? Panic. Okay, no, that is not the first thing that you do. But what we do is like try something new. Now try outreach. Now this is a tactics podcast. So we're going to discuss tactics today, and I'm going to talk about like some things, tactics that kind of work. And Shiksha is going to tell us what she thinks about it. And just like school, we're all going to share our opinions. Sounds good, Shiksha?
Sounds good. And especially in the wake of Canadian elections, I think this seems like the most apt topic.
Yes, they have about 15 days to canvass. So good luck to them. It looks like the conservatives and liberals are both hoping something will turn around. But let's get down to it. The first thing that everybody likes, and that is everybody's favorite, is door-to-door canvassing. We all know what door-to-door canvassing is, but just in case somebody new has joined us, it is where like campaign people, staff, volunteers, etc., literally come to your door, knock on it, and they're like, you know what, vote for our candidate. That's door-to-door canvassing. It is the gold standard of canvassing. There are studies that have shown that it leads to up to a 9% increase in turnout. It has many pros, obviously, which is like, face-to-face contact. You can talk to people, convince them, give them any explanation that you want. It is generally like the most favored part of about it, and something that people like. But I don't like it in crunch times for a specific reason, which I'll get into. But first, Shiksha, what do you think about door-to-door canvassing for outreach?
Personally, I feel door-to-door canvassing is the method that has the highest success rate when it comes to asking people to get out the vote, for educating voters. We've seen this over the past few years that there's door-to-door canvassing up there, and then there's every other method of reaching out to voters.
Okay. See, I get that, but like the thing is that I suppose the question here is: would you recommend people to take door-to-door canvassing in like a snap election or in like let's say emergency outreach? Do you think that door-to-door canvassing works?
I would say yes, but here's the catch. When it comes to door-to-door canvassing, it is time intensive, right? You have to go to every single door and knock every single door. Now, for example, door-to-door canvassing, you can canvass about 15 doors an hour. And that is if you don't run into someone who's really chatty, then you get to speak to 15 people in an hour. You spend 4 to 5 minutes talking to each person. And that's about what one volunteer can do. Now, compare it to every other method of canvassing, it's the smallest number. Like, for example, a phone call, you can do hundreds in an hour, right? So the difference is crazy. And in a last minute election, I think you still can if it's very hyper local and it's just your neighborhood and it's just your, you're voting for the president of your neighborhood watch. But when it comes to state or presidential elections, then I really feel we'll have to combine door to door with other methods of outreach.
By the way, even if you are standing as president for your housing association, get in touch with Call Hub.
Call Hub works from the smallest to the largest campaign. If you want to call more than one person, Call Hub is your platform.
That's true. All right. So my problem with door-to-door canvassing for like emergency snap elections, like Canadian scene, just boils down to the fact that you just can't talk to that many people. It's expensive to do it. Like there are many cons in door-to-door when it comes to like scales. It's expensive. You have to like train people. You can't just give somebody like a questionnaire and say, go chat with somebody, You have to train them. You have to ask them what questions to ask. You have to give them answers that they have to give. I mean, if your candidate is like pro-gun rights. It makes no sense if your staff goes and says, yes, we'll ban all guns. So you need training and all that. And there is only so many homes you can go to. So if you have like 15 days to convince 1 million people, door to door is not going to help. Use that for like swing voters, or maybe like people that you know for a fact you need to have a conversation with. Otherwise, we shall just move along to my favorite part of it, which is phone banking. Word to the wise though, for phone banking, you need a thick skin and like a good phone list. So for that to work, but it is very scalable. I mean, like as Shiksha said, it can call hundreds of people, and it's something that CallUp is quite good at as well. What do you think, Shiksha? Is phone banking something that you recommend for like a snap election?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to reach multiple voters, and also have engaging conversations in which you're educating them about a voter, about a candidate, talking to them about the causes that they support, why they should vote for a particular candidate or cause, then I
Yeah.
think phone call is the best way to do it. It's fast, it's scalable, it's also very meaningful. It's the best alternative that we can have, for a quick turnaround. Instead of talking to someone face to face, you talk to them on a phone call.
It is also true that statistically, by the way, it is considered the second most effective method after door-to-door canvassing.
Yes.
But I think, Shiksha, at this point, we have to discuss the elephant in the room, which is the fact that are people really keen on answering phones, though? Like, I feel like that's always like a big issue with phone calls, right? Like, you call people and they're like, who is this person? I would rather die than answer the call.
I thought you were drawing attention towards your pretty fancy shirt, by the way.
Thank you. We like to dress well for this podcast, give the viewers something to look at.
It looks good. Okay. Yes, people are less likely to pick up phone calls if they don't know who's calling, right? I mean, I know if my best friend's calling, I'm picking up in a second. But if it's some unknown number, I don't know if I'm going to be greeted by a scammer who's trying to empty my bank account, or if there's, or just some annoying aunt I cut relations off with. Um, but there are ways to combat this. One is using local caller IDs, which is, let's just say you are running a campaign in Austin, Texas. What you can do is get a phone number that has the Austin area code. People are more likely to pick up a number that is from their area. One of the things that you can use is our spam label shield, which also reduces the chances of your number being marked as spam. So I think there are ways in which you can phone bank. There are tools that are available, and this is not to be promotional. This is more to be educational, because we realize over the years that not a lot of people know that these options exist, and
Yeah.
you can make use of it, especially in a last minute election where they will come clutch.
That is true. I mean, I completely agree with what you say on the fact that people are not aware, because it is a common complaint we hear, like, hey, you want me to make phone calls? Nobody answers phone calls. The thing is, people, like you said, like there are ways to help people boost. Like there are ways to boost your campaign's answer rates. It's never going to be perfect. No one's going to answer the phone as much as somebody answers the door, for example. But at the same time, don't give up on phone calls because like you don't like spam calls. There are ways to like make people believe that you're a legitimate person who's calling. So you should keep at it. My personal con, by the way, is like, why I would why I'm slightly wary of phone calls is not really have to do with, much to do with in terms of like whether somebody answers or not, because I feel the people who answer tend to be the kind of people who are going to go vote. I mean, if you can't even answer the phone, what are the odds that you're going to get up and go vote on voting day? So, some balance there. But the bigger con is the fact that how meaningful a conversation you have, because these phone calls, if somebody sits and chats with you, they can eat up like a volunteer's time all day, like half an hour conversation, which is critical, but you may have been planning to talk to 300 people in that half an hour. And to me, that's like a major issue in the sense you just don't know where these phone calls are going to go. Like somebody's grandmother answers and she wants to know your entire manifesto. It's time for that staff guy to like bring out a book and start reading. And you can't really cut the call because you want their vote. So to me, that's like a major con.
No, but that also comes down to the training that you do for your volunteers, right? You need to train your volunteers about, one, how to use a product, and second, how to navigate conversations. They don't have time. They don't have the luxury of time. They cannot, unfortunately, sorry, grandma, speak to them for a long time.
That's true. But this, I think all of this was supposed to lead up to like the next suggestion. What do you think about text messages? Out of the top of your head, what do you think about text messages?
I think for a snap election, they're great. They're engaging. You don't just have to send plain text. You have so many options available today. You can send MMS, which you can share GIFs. You can share HD videos. You can share, images, just campaign material, and instantly. It reaches people instantly. You can send text messages multiple times and speak to people. Uh, I
True.
I don't think it's the best way in which you can have like deeper discussions, which you can have during door to door or phone banking. It is at the same time very very useful. Like a lot of millennial and Gen Z people do speak about how they do not want to pick up their calls, they don't want to answer the doorbell. What they can do is look at their phone, right? And we're constantly looking at our phone. So I think text messages are great.
I mean, I agree. I like text messages. So I have a little bit of personal theory here, which is kind of backed up by studies. But
Mhm.
okay, so studies have found, by the way, that swing voters do not change their mind so easily, and most of your votes are going to come from your own supporters whom you motivated to come vote. You're actually losing. I feel a lot of campaigns kind of lose track because they start chasing swing voters, and suddenly, you are like on one side of the spectrum promising something from completely the other side of the spectrum because you're like chasing all these things. But realistically, if you could boost the number of your own supporters who come to vote, that would actually get you more votes than like swing voters. All right, so if there are 10 swing voters and 100 of your supporters, it like 20 of your supporters show up and one swing voter, you may as well have put in effort to make sure like 45 of your supporters showed up. So I like text messages for that thing. They are great for last minute updates to just get people to come vote. Like, you get a text message saying, hey, today is the election. Today,
Mhm.
there's a voting booth like 1 kilometer from your house or like, a few meters down the road. Just go vote and come. Here is the link to like register or, show this message to somebody, to a volunteer of ours at the calling booth, and we'll help you vote. And, when you get people to do something on the minute, that minute, that's when I feel like things are much more effective when you don't have a long time to have debates and change minds. So, for example, like somebody wants to vote, snap elections,
Mhm.
elections are in 10 days, somebody wants to vote, they get a text message saying that their booth is next door, somebody will help them. They might just show up there and vote for you on the spot as like a, just one of those decisions that you make. So I think that text messages are great for like boosting your own supporters, which might prove more important when collecting votes. Shiksha, do you see any cons to texts that you want to share?
I think I've repeated this over like multiple podcasts at this point, but on multiple episodes of our podcast, actually. But you need to know when to stop, man.
Ah,
There is something called channel fatigue, and you
yes.
need to know when to stop. You cannot, like, just because it's easy, just because it's quick, you can't just like spam me with your text messages. You need to have a strategy in place. It doesn't matter if the election is 15 days from now. If you're sending me a text every single day, I'm going to go vote for the other person. I'm not
Love
voting for
all
you.
aspect of it, yes.
Just to spite you, just
Hmm.
to spite you, because stop texting me, right? But yeah, please have a strategy. If it's 15 days away, just know what's the most important piece of messaging that you want your voters to know about you. Educate them in the best way to get out and vote, and leave it at that. Just
Hmm.
let trust in the universe. Yeah.
I mean, I hope that I'm not sure elections can be won with vibes, but I agree with that. If you send me too many messages, you're just losing me. Realistically, all that we have left is things like social media, digital media. What do we think? I mean, I'm not. I mean, I would recommend somebody to try it, but unless you're going, the thing is this: there is no evidence that people who go viral win elections. I know we saw Trump, and you all think that Trump won an election because I don't know, he was viral on Twitter or Truth Social or whatever. This is not true. There are other issues that people care about. So I'm not very convinced about the fact that people who go viral on Twitter are necessarily the people who win elections, Because it always feels like the people who won the elections, you've never heard of them before outside your own circles or the circles of voters. So what do you think, Shiksha? Are you more optimistic about social media?
I am. I mean, I am the brand and content manager at CallUp. Why would I not be? Now, here's the thing. Social media requires budget, and it already requires a certain amount of public relations that you've all put effort into. Now, if you were a no-name person that's trying to rise up in a snap election, I think unless you have significant coverage, no one's following you. But does social media have the power to influence people, especially during last minute elections? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I don't think I'm getting my news source from anywhere else. I'm getting it from social media. The first thing I know, a celeb passes away, something else happens, and the first place I get to know that is through social media. It is through our social networks. I'm addicted to Reels, I'm addicted to TikToks, and I know most of us are spending multiple hours in a day scrolling. Why would I miss the option of appearing somewhere where my people already are? And I can pay to target, and I can pay to create good content, and it is easy to reach out to people. Why wouldn't I?
I mean, okay, I'll give you that. It makes sense that it's easy to reach out and you can have like a good this thing, but like let's agree to disagree in that part. I'm just not sure. Although I will give you this, there have been people who have, I know of an election where somebody won because Trump, it was like a Trump wave, and this guy was not even native to, like, not even local. For example, he had just recently moved into that county, but he won the election because of a Trump wave, and that's like a social media effect. So I can't say we should discount social media entirely. I'm just not sure how much it's swinging elections, but I'll defer to you I'll defer to you on your expertise, because that is what you do day in and day out. All right, before we close up this discussion about the kind of things we like in Snap election, let's have like a fun game to like wrap it up. So you have $100, Shiksha, and you have your door-to-door messaging, you have text messaging, you have phone banking, you have social media. How are you dividing your money? Come on, let us know right now. You're the campaign manager. Here's $100. Tell us how you're spending it.
If I have 1 month to go, I think I'm placing my bets on phone banking and texting. A significant chunk of my money is also going into social media and advertising. There is no way I can discount. So there's personal outreach and there's general public announcement. I am going to go for both. Door-to-door canvassing, I will be doubtful about. I don't know how much it ties into my strategy unless I have data and I've identified there's this one particular neighborhood, and just being there will make a difference. That's when I'll deploy people on the ground. I will definitely place my bets on these events and other like offline events, like let's just say the candidate's giving a speech somewhere, probably that. But definitely, if I have to put my budget in, is going to be phone banking, texting, and then social media.
Yeah, cool. I mean, if I had $100, had to win an election, let's say a month, 15 days, I would give $10 to send like 2 volunteers to like 3 swing voters who are like really obstinate, just so that I could say I could convert them. But I would spend the majority of my money, just like you, on phone banking, where in fact, I would spend like 70% of $70 out of that $100 on phone banking, because I'm like, you have supporters, just talk to them, convince your supporters to actually come out and vote for you. If you can convince more people to come vote for you than the other side, then I think you'll win. I'm not sure about social media, so yeah, I'll put my money in like phone banking and like the last amount that's left, door-to-door canvassing on the last day. That would be my plan. Okay then.
I think we both reached the end of this conversation.
We kind of have, in the sense, and we also have elections to run. But we hope that this gave you some insight into the kind of things you should do during a Snap election. The key points are: don't panic, do outreach, and there are different kinds of outreach that you can do. So don't worry about it. See, all these things are really necessary in a democracy, but at the same time, this is not like, it's not like North Korea. You're not going to change a lot of minds in like 15 days. Just like, do your best. But thank you for listening to Call Up Tech and Tactics podcast. We hope you have enjoyed this episode, and you can catch us at Apple iTunes or Spotify. If you have any feedback for us, any questions, or anything you'd like us to talk about, do mail us at marketing@callup.io. That's marketing@callup.io. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.